y'all. This is Jeanette Keynes from Jewelry Arts Inc., also known as Dr. Goldsmith. In this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about quenching. I feel like a lot of people out there are in pursuit of making their metal as soft as possible, but the way they're quenching actually just leads to cracks and destruction. I'll show you how to do it with no risk to your piece.
So I just want to show off this lovely ingot here that has a few little issues. So the question was, why do I have cracks in my ingot? And I'll show you the extreme close up, but I'll let Amy get in a little closer. You can kind of come closer, Amy. Let's see if you can see it through there. Like I said, I'll do the macro as well. But you see what I mean? It's got some cracks in there. And the question was like, well, I feel like I was annealing enough and all that kind of thing. So I said, okay, well, let's go through a couple things. And I said, when you're milling an ingot, if you mill too fast, in other words, not the speed that you're spinning it, but if you make too big of a turn at once, you can get a little flange, that kind of squirts out on the side, and you'll get little flakes, right? I mean, that can definitely happen, which all that means is smaller increments as you're turning the handle, okay? But this is beyond that. So I just want to show a little close up of the question we had, which is like, why do I have all these naughty cracks? And this is a 21 karat ingot, as you see. So the question was, why the fuck? So basically cracks like this are a little beyond that. I mean, yes, if you go really crazy and you don't anneal often enough and you tighten the mill like enormously, you can cause cracks, but normally it just gives you a little flange and like a little flakes, right? So I said, okay, well, you haven't been quenching it right when you anneal it, have you? And I did manage to extract a confession that yes. So here's the thing. There's this whole thing that everybody is sort of taught and hears about how, well, the metal is softer if you quench it while it's hot. And although that is technically true, what actually happens is people get the piece too hot and they pop it right in water and it motherfucking cracks. You know what I'm saying? Sterling is especially vulnerable to this. Like people be making like a cuff, right? And they anneal it because they want it to be extra soft and they pop it in the water and that motherfucker cracks. So it's one of those things where it's like a tiny piece of information that gets then turned into a deadly weapon. And also I was pointing out, like, this is 21 karat. Like if this was 22 karat, which has much less copper in it, it's so soft you almost can't get it to crack. Do you know what I'm saying? But I was like, oh, it's 21. Oh yeah. So you're plunging it right in there. But that's what I am always trying to explain to people, that actually metals are very similar. Do you know what I'm saying? Like there are small differences between gold and silver, but actually they act very much the same a lot of the time. So no one's project has ever failed because they said, oh, you know what? I annealed this and I must have only annealed it to 95% and not 100%. The only scenario that can ever possibly happen is if you're using like a hydraulic press and you put something in there and it's not quite annealed enough and you put it in and it actually cracks. In what I consider normal studio circumstances where we're hitting things with a hammer and shaping and whatever, that never happens. I have never seen it happen. I've been here for 35 years. I've never witnessed it happen. I've never heard about it happening. It doesn't happen. So what I usually do to avoid the deadly crackage, like on my bench, normally I have a steel block right next to where I'm annealing. When I'm done annealing, I put it on the steel block and let it sit there for like a minute. If you want to quench it after that, it's not that you necessarily have to let it cool absolutely to room temperature before you then put it in water, but just give it a minute. Do you know what I'm saying? If you do that, you will not have cracking. But like I said, I just feel like a lot of times there's like a little kernel of information that's, even though it's technically true, the way it's applied will fuck you up hard. So don't let that happen to you. Just let it cool off for a minute before you quench, and you're not going to get cracks and you'll be happy. And you'll say, why didn't I start listening to that Jeanette a lot sooner? So what I'm going to do, I feel like this is not irreparable. I feel like I can sort of half melt this a little bit and heal the cracks. If I'm wrong, then fine, I make a new ingot out of it. But usually if the cracks aren't too bad, I just figure like, oh, I'll try to sort of half melt them a little bit. It's not the end of the world though. You would just have to, make a new ingot. Yeah, and the whole key with this, of course, is you just really have to keep your eye on it, when you're doing this little half melt thing. So I'll just start with one section because what you're looking to do, the cracks may not utterly disappear exactly, but you're looking for them to like fill in a little bit, which if we get it hot enough, it will definitely do. And like I said, if you try to fix it and it doesn't work, like, oh, well, then just, make a fresh ingot, using your chopstick and etc. But in this case, I just kind of put it on here because I'm like, I think I can fix those. As you see, and by the way, if your metal is ever getting this hot when you're annealing, you're fucking over annealing. Stop it. But you see what I mean? How that just sort of flowed like a little bit, right? So I'll move it down here and it flowed a little bit. It seems like it's mainly in here. So I'll go over here a little bit. Once you see any kind of orange bounce back from your flame, you're annealed. So just so you can see, people are trying to anneal their things to this temperature. Don't do that. Okay, so I'm going to like flip it around because normally what I would do after we do this melting is they'll have you forge it again with a hammer to get like your structure back. You get a better structure when you hammer. But you see these little, these little stinkers right there. Like I said, if it's just a tiny little flake at the surface, it's really not a big deal. But these are deep enough that like once you got to the point where it's wire, your wire will be cracking. You know what I mean? Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that bullshit. Okay. Because I usually feel like unless the cracks are crazy deep, I can do this and remember people, if you're not cheating, you're not trying hard enough. So you see what I mean? I'm not melting enough for it to totally lose its shape, just enough that those should kind of fill in a little bit. Let's take a look here. It's good. Yeah, I think that was basically it. So I'm going to put it on my steel block for a second. We'll pickle, we'll cool it off, we'll pickle it, and we'll forge it, and then we'll go back to it. So a lot of times if they're not super deep, you can actually kind of half melt it and fix it. But this is literally what I do on my bench. I have a steel block right there. I slide it over. I do something else for like a minute. And like, you don't have to get all crazy and like time it, but just like let it sit there for a little bit so that when you're putting it in your water, you're not, really shocking it. And here's another thing too. Like, I don't like my steel to get wet, right? Your block, your tools, your whatever. So a lot of times I don't even have my water bowl right here. I have it a little further away because I don't want to put something in there because, wherever water is, your tools will rust. If you're like out in the Midwest where the desert is, this matters not to you. But over here on the Northeast, things can get a little damp, and rust is not so cool. So keep that in mind.